Windy Bill here, and today we're going to be looking at my new exploring vehicle. Well, new to you guys and new to the exploring lately. This is my 1974 Ford Bronco. I've had it since 1974. I bought this on the showroom floor in Barstow, California in November of 74. And it's been through a lot of changes in its history. It's been set up with a lower suspension. It was like 4 inches above stock, and 31-inch tires, a road course 4-speed Mustang transmission hooked up to the transfer case. And it was pretty much a semi-race vehicle. It was actually never raced, but it was ran as a parts chaser, support vehicle for a lot of racing vehicles. And general overall fast fun. Then I decided that the build I had was not any good at all for general four-wheeling. First gear in low range was equivalent to about first gear in a normal vehicle. So first gear in high range was equivalent to about third gear in a normal vehicle. So I decided that we'd change that out, and I put an NP 435 4-speed in it, super crawler gear, and that has been the ticket for my off-roading and exploring. As you can see, it's basically all straight still. It's got some surface rust on it from sitting in the shop with the swamp cooler blowing on it. Evaporation swamp cooler. So I've got to get that scrubbed off. Whole vehicle is going to get scrubbed down. I don't know if anybody's ever heard of it. It's Barkeeper's compound. You find it in the cleaning section of the market. For removing surface rust, it is fantastic. It'll take it right off, does not scratch up your paint, and it's fantastic for this work. We're going to do a walk around first. And it's got some old mounting brackets where the factory stock tire carrier went. Down there and down there. It's got different mirrors on it. It's got the Confer roof rack. And there was another company that bought out the whole corporation just to get the patent on this roof rack. And then they discontinued them. And they started up with their little version of it, which was you could take it apart and put it in a small box and ship it through Amazon. And it really wasn't worth anything. Okay, on the back, I went with the 2 gas can tire carrier. If you have this on your Bronco, get rid of it. It does have a problem. Is this seam here is spot welded on the inside. And it's on both sides. And what that does, it puts excessive stress here. I know it's probably a little dark, but puts excessive stress there, and it starts pulling it away from the vehicle after a while. Definitely when I went to 35s, it was way too much for it. So it'll get changed out, but I do carry my shovel and my Pulaski. If you guys don't know what a Plasky is, it's a combination of an axe and a hard grubbing hoe. Fantastic for working. And it's going to get a new item added to it, and that's a garden hoe. I show people this all the time, and they don't believe me until they try it. If you get stuck in sand, garden hoe is the best tool to have. It's quicker, easier on your body, much better at getting the sand out around the tires, before you can get your recovery boards down there and get yourself out. Also set up with a receiver trailer hitch. This used to tow a 4-horse stock trailer all over California and Nevada. So it was set up for heavy towing. Got the driver's side. We got the main and the auxiliary gas tanks. The auxiliary is not factory. I replaced the plastic one from the factory with an all metal one. There you can see our rack better. Got good mirrors. And I'm not going to say this thing's perfect. I've got a crack running here from this old mirror mount. I got this hole from the factory mirror mount. Got rust here from the old mounts. Dents, very few. Little ones only. Got a nice big scrape here. Got a little dent there. But right now, I got Cooper Discovery 1250 15s. And they are probably 7 years old. So I'm looking at replacing those. I've got a pair of the Dick C-Peck off-road racing lights. Very hard to come by. They're a collectible. And the back case has been modified to fit on this bumper guard. It's got a mounting location for a winch, which it'll have soon. Tow hooks on the front. It'll get a set of tow hooks on the back and a recovery point on the hitch. And overall, this is just a fantastic vehicle. Okay, I went ahead and popped open the hood. The hood is very special. This hood was manufactured from a off-road company. They're still in business, but they no longer make this hood. This is the lightweight fiberglass hood from back in the mid-70s, early 80s that all the racing Broncos used. This was actually the first replacement hood manufactured. They no longer make them. They fit perfect. And it's going to be a case where this one's just going to get some fiberglass repair work done to it. A couple of things it's going to get is all the cracks and everything going to be repaired. But then it's going to get a copper mesh fine screen put on the fiberglass hood, and then it'll be fiberglassed over. All get cleaned back to clean fiberglass, and then fiberglassed over with a thin layer of fiberglassing and matting. That way you won't get the ticking noise in your radios from the ignition. The buzzing noise, that's what causes it. Non-grounded hood doesn't stop the static electricity. Okay, here's the engine. Ford 302 stroke to 347, Holley 4-barrel, large air filter, where you don't have to keep cleaning it every day. Got all my lighting wiring and all my headlight wiring all through relays, circuit breakers, down here. All my electric cables are protected with this silver wire cable holder. Now if you notice, there's a air conditioner pump over there. This thing will have a air conditioning and heating when it's finished. Got a hand throttle here. That's because sitting right here used to be one of the welders. That welder went in the early 80s. It was a fantastic welder. The company that built them was in Landers, California, and I went over there and purchased one and then installed it. It worked perfect. Loved it. But after years of beating and dying and working and running and everything else, it finally took a dump and was deemed unrepairable. So it came out. Eventually I will be putting another one in. I'm really seriously thinking about mounting the other one possibly inside the cab somewhere. There's the compressor for the air conditioning. MSD distributor. And this is a pretty built up motor. Still drivable, but built up. Fuel filter for those days where you get bad gas. I do have power disc brakes. MSD ignition system. And I'll tell you what, I've got a set of headers that I put on here. When I bought them, I didn't know they were fender exit headers. And let me get to this side where it's in the sun. You can see it better probably. They are awesome headers. Come through the fender well and then drop out underneath. We do have aftermarket shock springs. This thing's lifted 6 inches. Got the Clydesdale steering system under it, where they don't bend like the factory stock ones. It's got the F250 steering box in it, power steering, and that pretty much wraps up the outside. Oh, one more item, the rear end. After having trouble breaking the rear axles and damaging the center section a lot, we had a Curry company. They put in a 35 spline, extra large axles, Detroit locker with 488 gears. So it is geared a little low for highway, but it's fabulous for off-road. All right, we're going to move to the inside now. Okay, first thing you notice when you look inside is the dashboard. It's old school. The dashboard had that big gauge pulled out. It had Stewart Warner all mechanical gauges put in. That's because this was built back between the late 70s through the 80s, and nobody trusted the electric gauges, and I still really don't trust them. I've got vehicles with electric gauges that'll tell me I've got 40 pounds of oil pressure today, 60 pounds tomorrow. I put a mechanical gauge on it, and it holds 60 pounds always. So it doesn't goof up and rely on electricity and alternator power and battery voltage and all the stupid things that can have variables and cause you to think you're having motor problems when you're really not. It's got a tachometer. Easy to read when you're moving fast. It is a 4-speed. It's got the twin stick transfer case conversion. And I actually put that in when I had the road course 4-speed in it, because if you was in stop and go traffic or in a parking lot, you would have to put it 2-wheel drive low range to be able to maneuver without burning up your clutch. Like I said, first gear in that old transmission was equivalent to third gear. You had 800 RPMs between first, second, third, and fourth. It was a fun vehicle to drive. So much horsepower back then. It had probably close to 900 horses in it. Fully built V8 to the max. And this thing was a handful. If you pushed it hard, on a takeoff off the line, you could get the front end about a foot off the ground. This was my wife's toy she drove. She loved driving it, and she loved taking on Mustangs, Roadrunners, Chargers, and all these hot cars that these kids had that were basically just pretty cars that were stock. And they were quite embarrassed when a 4-wheel drive Bronco could take them on the line, take them off the line, take them on top end. Back then, this thing was geared and set up to run 145 miles an hour at 5,800 RPMs. In which I had it up to there twice, once on pavement, once on dirt. And I'll tell you, at that speed, it's a handful. My wife got used to it, and she kept it running on the highway when she was going between Victorville and Lucerne Valley and Apple Valley and all those areas. She would get it up to about 120, 130 all the time. Okay, the floors are a mess. And what the situation here, this was sitting in storage for a while at my house, and then it went into the shop to get the new motor put in. So it's dirty from that. This is all going to get cleaned out. I am going to put dyno matting in on the whole floorboard all the way through to lessen some of the noise inside now. Hey, I'm getting up there in age, and I like a little quieter ride. That's why we're having air conditioning and heating. This has never had, since about 1976, when the heater core went out, it has never had heating nor air conditioning in it. So it's going to be a new one for me. Okay, this has got a removable top. And yes, it used to be off the vehicle more than on the vehicle. We ran it for 3 years without a top on it, and as a daily driver, and it got interesting. Okay, we have Mastercraft seating. These are racing seats from Mastercraft. I got a matching back seat for the Bronco from Mastercraft. It's got Simpson 5-point seatbelt shoulder harness arrangement. The submerged strap is not installed yet, but the shoulder harness and the seat belts are. If you look, I got to add a bar to my cage to hook the seat belts, the shoulder harnesses to. And that'll be going in probably in about another month, maybe 2. Full roll cage, going to get worked over, get braced, get taken care of, made look better, made safer and stronger. Got the diamond plate door panels. And this is definitely a fun vehicle. I do know, if you notice the license plate, this vehicle has always been nicknamed the Pegasus. So that was the plate that it got. Now I got to get new tires. These are just, they look good, but they are old. They are weather checked a little bit, cracking a little bit. I just don't trust them. Okay, the last big event that this one showed at, when it was a little bit better, was the 40-year anniversary Bronco gathering. That was in Apple Valley, California, at the Lone Wolf Colony. It was a resort in Apple Valley, out on Bear Valley Road, and we had a whole bunch of Broncos there, almost 1,000 of them. And this is in the parking lot picture of all the Broncos gathered up together. And the way you pick it out is by the white hood and the white roof. It's got a stereo in it. I like my music. It's got a Cobra sideband, regular sideband CB radio. It will be getting race ready radio set up in it as soon as I get to that point. Everything takes time. I completely retired out of the landscaping business and turned it over to my daughter. So I don't have a lot of the extra funding that I used to have. When I did that, I took about a $9,000 a month hit. But that's okay. All right, that just pretty well covers it. Joined the Pahrump Valley four-wheelers for a while when I first moved here. And I had a lot of fun. But when they go out, I could never had a need to put it in four-wheel drive. In fact, we went out into one of the washes in Death Valley, and you had a kind of a real rocky two-tier waterfall that you had to go up. And they were all having trouble getting up it. Well, knowing I never really needed four-wheel drive, I didn't think much of it. I went there on that trip that day, and I didn't have a front drive shaft in it because it was in the shop getting new U-joints built into it and getting the whole drive shaft rebuilt. And I came to that, and one of the guys goes, "Well, it's your turn. Let's see how this thing does." And it was a struggle in two-wheel drive, first gear, low range. And he got done. He goes, "Boy, you had to work hard at getting up that, even harder than some of the other Jeeps." And I go, "Yeah, when you're in two-wheel drive." He looks underneath, and there's no drive shaft. And he just kind of went, "Oh, wow." Yeah. So, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. I don't think I missed anything. I've got carburetor problems right now. I've got to get a new carburetor for it. I need new tires for it. Need dyno matting for it. I'm not sure if I'm going to do something to the roof, but dyno matting on the roof and then a kind of a headliner, or I just put dyno matting and leaving it. I'm not sure yet. I don't know. A lot depends on money, time, and getting this thing. My main thing is I've got to have this on the road soon before I can start going out. There's my exploring vehicle that I've been using. A Dodge 1500 two-wheel drive. And I've been getting into some really bad places. It's nothing to be stuck 2 or 3 times in a day. But it's been getting a lot of videos made. But I can't wait to get this back on the road. Okay, I wish everybody to have a great, blessed day. This is Sunday. It's my day off. I'm taking it easy. And just going to finish doing a walk around, and we're going to we're going to go ahead and call this video over. It's an awesome motor. Very happy with it. And everybody have a great day. Thank you very much for watching. Hitting the like button really helps me out a lot on getting this presented to more viewers. Subscribing. The more subscribers I get, the sooner I can get monetized on my channel. And I will be putting up some sites where you can donate to on here to help me out. We're going to have a gas and coffee fund. We're going to have a site where you can have gift cards, like a lot of the other YouTube channels have. We're going to be on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, just to get the word out and get advertising. And by the way, scheduled down the road sometime will be probably a new paint job. But I hate this color. I hated it when I bought it, but it was the only color available there at the dealership. This was the last one on the lot. Everything else was being brought out with 75 Broncos, which had catalytic converters and all that garbage on it. So I wanted a 74, so I had to let the paint slide and get this one. But it's going to remain green. It's going to have the custom two-tone paint job on it when I do it. But it's still going to be a simple paint job. Because when I go out, I don't care if I get scratched. I just run through bushes. If I'm on a little narrow Jeep road and there's brush, I run through it. I take it in some really odd places. It's never left me away from home, you know. I've never had to have it towed home. I've been able to fix it. Now, my biggest challenge was when I ripped the rear axle, broke 2 U-bolts, and pulled the rear axle halfway out from under the vehicle on one side. Oh, and I broke the axle housing twice and had to have that all done up, brought it into my shop, and we had to get it all welded back up and cleaned up. But other than that, it's always got me home. Thank you for watching. Have a blessed day.